I cannot believe we are more than halfway through the year. Let's talk about all the books that I've read so far. It hasn't really been that many. I've been in a major book slump, and I'm going to talk about the book that caused that slump. So to start it off, I read Enemies with Benefits, which has fun banter, steaminess. It was an ebook. I got it during one of the Kindle Day things. School Rivals, I really enjoyed it because I wasn't just waiting for the love interest to pop up. I was actually just so into the story, just with the protagonist talking about her messy life. Sometimes with these kinds of books, it's just like, let's get to the meat and potatoes. But in this case, I was okay with like the appetizers. Like, it was so much fun. Everyone is fully fleshed. Good times. Next, I read Vampires of El Norte, which is taking place in Mexico during the 1800s. I love the cover of this book. I love the author. I think she's incredibly talented, but I just wasn't super into it. It's a love story with vampires, action, Western vibes, cowboys, you know, learning about Mexico during this time period, because some of it is obviously based in reality or like in historical events, is really interesting. I think the plot device with the vampires was so good because it is so different than any other vampire mythology. Like, it just kind of takes a different turn. The rules are a little bit different. That's what kept me hooked, because I wanted to see how things would play out, because from the very beginning something happened to the protagonist and I'm like, wait, why isn't this and this happening based off of other literature with vampires? I thought that was cool, but I hate any type of love story where the girl is the naive, innocent one and the man has slept around, done his thing, been around the block multiple times, and then he's like, oh, but none of them compare to you, and da 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 da. Like, I don't know. I mean, and it's true. He obviously has a deeper connection with his childhood best friend, the protagonist, but to me, that's just not a fun love story. Like, I'm just not a fan. Station 11. Okay, this is kind of what got me to book slump, but I'll explain. Station 11 was so good, and I read it obviously after what happened in 2020. I think that changes your perspective of it, but basically, if you haven't heard, Station 11 was super popular 10 years ago on the booktube community. But basically, there's this fever, this flu that takes over, kills almost all of the world population, and then now there's like little colonies of people throughout specifically the US, and we follow a protagonist and a group of actors who perform Shakespearean plays. And that sounds so random and dumb, but I'm gonna read what I wrote. Slow, beautiful, makes you think more deeply about what you would no longer see if the world fell apart, like airplanes. Also demonstrates how the age you are when everything falls apart is important, and it's different and easier for those who are younger, because you do meet, like, the protagonist was super young. She was 8 years old when the world fell apart, whereas other people were already in their 20s and their 30s, and they remember things a little bit more clearly. This has been adapted into an HBO miniseries, and I do also love it. Just keep in mind that that series has been dramatized, obviously, a little bit more than the book, but the book is so good. I loved it. I loved it, and I'll explain why it got me into a book slump after. It's the sequels. All Night Pharmacy is apparently a coming of age story, which I do enjoy. It's about sisters who are codependent, generational trauma, drugs, sex, and addiction. And the addiction is a lot. Like, there's just so much addiction with pills and alcohol and the cycles of that, and to me that's not that fun to read. Like, obviously people go through these struggles, I'm sympathetic to it, but this in particular, like, I just wasn't into it. Like, I wasn't into it, and it's kind of framed like a mystery, like what happened to her sister, because she does kind of disappear within like the first couple chapters, but really it's just seeing her know that she can live without her sister and whatever. It's cute, it's fun. I wouldn't say it's cute, it's interesting. It's like a wild ride, like a fever dream, but not for me. Then I have this here, the Luminous set, which I have to return. This is long overdue. It's a library copy. This was good. It's like a sci-fi horror, not that scary though. You're following a protagonist who lied her way into getting a job mining. Like, this is like high-tech sci-fi mining where you're in a suit that takes care of everything, like going to the bathroom, eating, all these things. Like, it's just high-tech stuff, and she's in a cave system. There's a specific mission. Then she realizes, oh, these are all false pretenses, and I'm actually involved in something more shady with like corporations and stuff. I obviously don't want to spoil anything, and the only person she has to talk to is the person who is like manning the operations like in the space station above, so she's kind of isolated. It's like claustrophobic. I thought it was okay. It's not the best. I think it's a little slow sometimes. I think it's a little repetitive sometimes. Like, you're spending your entire time in the cave system, so it's not like The Descent. Like, if you've ever watched the movie The Descent, where it's like, ooh, like what's happening, and it's like all this action and stuff. There is action, but it was good. It was fine. I'd give it like 2.5 stars though. I like the author. I think I would love to see what else they write. I just didn't really connect with this book in particular, but I did read it within a day, so it did keep me hooked. All right, let's talk about that book slump. So this is Sea of Tranquility, and I also have The Glass Hotel, which are not direct sequels to Station 11, but they take place in the same world, and they are all interconnected in some way. I personally should have read The Glass Hotel first and then Sea of Tranquility, because I was intrigued with this, but there's a lot of things that were happening that I would have known a little bit more if I had read The Glass Hotel. So I ended up purchasing the ebook of The Glass Hotel. So it's on my Kindle, and I liked both, but they're a little bit slow. Like once you're in them, it's so easy to keep going and going because the writing that Emily has is just so good. There's something so poetic, but not cheesy, not corny, not overly indulgent, or like, oh, I don't know, like snobby. You know, like sometimes poetry for me is like obnoxious, I guess is a better word. None of this is like that. Like it's so beautifully written, but it just takes me too long to get involved. Like I have too many distractions with my phone and stuff, so I think I need to read a different book first before coming back to this. So yes, I'm DNFing it, but only temporarily. I'm gonna DNF A Sea of Tranquility and The Glass Hotel for now until I can get back my love for reading, and then I can start back on these again, because I just keep putting it off, and now these books are all overdue. Luckily, my library is not doing any fees anymore for now, but I still feel bad because obviously there's gonna be people who want to read these books. So I'm going to the library today, which is why I decided to film this video right now. But yeah, those are all the books I've read for the year of 2023. I want to keep going. Like I took a big slump and things got a little chaotic, but I love to read and I just want to get back into it. And I want to do also short form content for reading as well. We'll see. But if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you very, very soon to another video. I promise. Bye.